It's Lyndsay with American College Strategies, bringing you another episode of Your Road to College. What you need to know to go from application to acceptance. And this is our special edition of the COVID Detour, how the changes of this pandemic are affecting college admissions and what you can do about it. In this episode, we are covering changes in testing, and that looks like schools going test optional and changes to taking the actual test. And should you take it? Now, let's dig into the first topic. Test optional, test blind. We're hearing an announcement from schools left and right that they've gone test optional. What does that mean? What's the difference between test optional and test blind? So let's break this down and clear up any confusion. When you hear a school say test optional, what they really mean is test preferred. Let's take a look at the University of Georgia's admittance rate for early action students who submitted test scores. 49% versus 26% who didn't submit scores. Now, we don't know why 74% of those students who applied early action didn't get in, right? Did they have a low GPA and decide to go for it because they're a test optional school? We don't know, but the data is the data. So if you can submit a score to a test optional school, you should consider submitting a score. Now, test blind means that colleges will not and cannot look at the score even if you submit them. All the UCs, including all of these schools here, right? So why would they do that? Well, they know that we're in a pandemic and many students have been prevented from taking the test at all. And it's important also to remember that some of these schools might still look at your scores for class placement should you be accepted to the university, especially for specific majors, but it really depends on the school. So you need to check with those schools and for the departments that you're applying to get details on that. Let's take the University of Washington, for example. They're somewhere in between test optional and test blind. They're not going to look at your score unless you're on the wait list. And then in that case, they will look at your score to determine which student they're going to take off the wait list. So the best way to find out if your school is test optional, test blind is FairTestorg or checking the school you're applying to's website. Now let's take a look at should you take the ACT/SAT in a pandemic. Now I want to be very clear, we do not think you should compromise your health or the safety of your family and take the test, but just know that both ACT and SAT have guidelines in place, including face coverings and minimal social distancing required. Both tests are open for registration, but a lot are getting canceled, upwards of 50% depending on the month. Some tests are getting canceled the same day, and depending on what state you're trying to take the test in, some students in some states are having a harder time because of these closings. So is there a testing center available in your area? You need to check the test center closing for the SAT, link in the description box below, and you need to check for ACT locations by accessing their website. And just, it's worth noting the ACT is in development of creating an online test that you could take from home, but as of publication date of this video, they are still a few weeks out. Data is still pouring in, and it's always changing. Local COVID infections, vaccine availability, local regulations, an effort to keep everyone safe. Bottom line is if you decide to take the test, know that you're doing so at your own risk. And if you know you're taking the test and you go and your test is canceled, know that it's going to be okay. Do the best with what is in your control. Adaptability in the face of change is a skill that is going to serve you throughout your life, so practice now and roll with it. Now, if you'd like to hear more about the COVID Detour, stay tuned because we are covering campus tours next. And if you like this video, hit like and subscribe so you can get updates on future episodes. If you have questions you would like us to cover in this show, write it in the comments below. At American College Strategies, we love to take the stress out of the search and bring you the inside scoop to make your college search a successful one. We'll see you next time.